From there. All right, hello and welcome everybody. Welcome to Three Secrets to Getting Unstuck in Your 2026 Job Search. My name is Albert. I am the founder of Albert's List, and we are a job search, side hustle, and AI education organization located out of California, but we serve pretty much the entire United States and beyond. So it's good to have you all here today. And before we get started, I wanted to really just get you in the mindset of today's webinar. I know there's a lot going on, right? Susie just shared it that Amazon is laying off 14,000, and I think it's going to be this week or this Wednesday where they're actually doing that. And so yeah, getting in the mindset, it's kind of difficult, but we understand what's going on. And Lindsay, yes, we are recording this on YouTube, and I will go ahead and follow up with a recording link afterwards. So hopefully you'll get a chance to review it as well. So as we get on the mindset of today's webinar, I'm hoping that you have few distractions. If you can exit out of your social media apps, close the door to your room, or plug in your headphones, that way you get as much as you can out of this webinar as you can possible. You might have signed up for this webinar today. You might have seen several iterations of this over the last little bit, and you might be wondering if you're in the right place today. And you are, if you've started the year off with maybe a sense of dread, you're struggling to find your next job, you feel stuck in your career, you aren't sure what to do in the job market, or you're just looking for a solution to your struggles. If any of those describe you this evening, wherever you're maybe dialing in from, type yes in the chat. I'd love to know. And if it's not you, I'd love to also know what attracted you to this webinar today. So, after we tell you about the three secrets to getting hired, we're going to also share a couple of other things that we have coming up. I want to show you how you can get more. And I want you to stay to the end because I think it's important of the opportunity that I want to share with you today, hopefully after I build a little bit of trust with you in terms of what Albert's List does. But first, a little bit about me. My name is Albert. As I mentioned, I'm the founder of Albert's List. I named this company after myself, and by day, I'm a product marketer, and by night, I guess some might call me a jobs whisperer. I've been running Albert's List for a long time now, and you're going to hear a little bit about that in a moment. Outside of running Albert's List and doing my day job and all this work, I'm also a vintage paper collector and a Peloton biker. So if you want to look for my first and last name on Peloton, you can also add me there too. And like you, I've been through the Silicon Valley career grinder. For Albert's List, there was just Albert, just me. And I was a new graduate on the throes of the Great Recession, all the way back in 2010, which seems like a long time ago, but I mean, 16 years ago. But sometimes it feels like yesterday. And, like many of you, I went through school and nobody taught me how to job search, much less manage a career. I was one of those young, entitled millennials, I'll admit to that, and solely looking for money and really myself, and the results showed. I was fired from the first few jobs that I had out of school and wondered whether I could do better for myself. I felt pretty powerless, clueless, and losing at the game of life. There would be Friday nights where it seemed like friends were out and about doing a lot of fun things and really great jobs and with their great jobs, and afterwards, and I was just kind of wondering what I was doing with my life. Has anybody ever felt that way, looking through their career and seeing how other people are? I also happened to work in a career that was completely different from my family. They were engineers and they decided that my craft was going to be in marketing. I loved doing social media at the time, back when organic reach would get you a lot of followers, and connecting with others in writing, but the layoffs were taking their toll. I questioned my skills, my self-worth took a hit, and I began questioning my value. Bills also never stopped coming in the mailbox, being zapped right out of my bank account, and a constant feeling of uncertainty. And I still have that uncertainty today at times. Although I would say that less so that uncertainty is about getting laid off and more so about, AI and everything that's coming from there. And so that constant uncertainty in the future was always anxiety inducing and very similar to those that, I think work a lot in the tech industry today. I was constantly on a job hunt, networking with others, and wondering when the proverbial axe would fall on me. But I eventually got unstuck, figured some things out, and coincidentally built Albert's List along the way and found myself helping others. If you've come from my community today, from my Facebook group, maybe you've been here before, type yes in the webinar chat. I want to see how many of you have been with me for a while. And so once I did that, I was able to get out of contract and layoff hell and ended up working at a fairly stable job for a couple of years in Southern California. Welcome, Jen. Good to have you as a first-time caller. I hope you like me after today's webinar. It's always good. Um, and for those of you who've been here for a few years, it's really great to always have you back. And so because my job was remote in Southern California, I was able to come back to the Bay Area a lot and give talks at the local library. And that meant these long drives that gave me time to think. And oddly enough, I was thinking a lot about job topics because I never felt secure. And for me, I was thinking about things like interviewing and networking, or what it meant to conduct a meaningful job search. And combine that with my Facebook group. And if you haven't been in my Facebook group, I'm going to go ahead and drop the link in here. The other thing that I noticed in running this Facebook group over the last couple of years during that time was that there were people who would come into my group, land a job, and leave. And there were also some people who would come into my group, land that job, or not land that job, and really stay for a long time. And over time, I really wondered what happened. And so that's what ultimately led to Albert's List, which I founded in 2013. And it's been something that has been iterated as a Facebook group and now as an LLC. And so, Albert's List, we are in the business, as I mentioned, of helping job seekers learn AI, side hustle, and job search skills. If you found us through Eventbrite, then you see we have a bunch of different events, and it's always a chance every week to learn a variety of new things. AI, job search, and side hustles play a crucial part, we believe, in your career today, and we aim to provide accessible, engaging opportunities for you to grow your career. In fact, as I mentioned, early on in this webinar at the very beginning, we're doing a lot of that right now. If you haven't had a chance to connect with others in the webinar, if you haven't had a chance to drop your LinkedIn, I always use my webinars as opportunities to network and grow your network because I think even though you may not be interested in what I have to offer, you at least can connect with others. And so over time, Albert's List has grown to a large community. We've grown to 50,700 people, just like you on our Facebook group. And and the people that we have in our community work at a lot of major companies like Meta, Apple, and Lyft. A lot of these people exist in my group today, and if you want to get hired there, introduce yourself, and hopefully I can find someone to tag. And hopefully there are some companies here that you would want to work for as well. But going back to that, right? We look at companies that we want to work at and we look at the job market. And the good news is that the unemployment rate is not as high as it's been in the past. But, it's also been worse. And I'm going to show you today how to navigate this current employment landscape. It's not easy, right? It hasn't been easy for quite some time, and it feels like it's been getting tougher. And navigating a job search is tough. There's this fear of failure, this fear of rejection, this fear that you won't land anywhere, which I call looking into the abyss. And fear is your greatest enemy. However, if you have a process, it is a lot more manageable. But I get it. You also have bills coming in. You need a paycheck. You need a solution. And that's why you're here with us today. And usually the problem that we see with job hunting, with folks who are coming in here, is that something is not working. You are not getting the results you want, and I want to show you how this works in today's webinar. And ultimately, you want a job and the right job. So let's get into that a little bit. The first thing that I want to talk about, which is actually not one of these three tips, but one of the most important tips that you can have, is that you do not need to isolate and that it's important to stay connected. Staying connected with Albert's List, which Albert's List helps people do, has so many benefits. The job hunt process can be so isolating because you're at home every day, looking at your screen, looking at job listings. And staying connected helps you be more consistent. It gets you the support that you need and allows you to be successful. And part of that is the advantage of staying connected is also networking. With more than 90% of jobs being filled via networking, It's really important to be in circles of networks and influences that can help you get hired. In fact, I think I saw in my Facebook group today that somebody was hiring for a role in a nonprofit as an executive assistant, right? And so these are roles that are directly tied to recruiters who are looking for people who work in those jobs to work in those jobs. And that's really important. But it's also a really, really crowded market. And as we learned earlier in this conversation tonight, only getting more crowded with Amazon possibly laying off another 14,000 people. And so you need the right tools to get there to stand out in that market. And part of that tool set is the right resume, the right fundamentals, and the overall right approach to your job search. And the biggest hope that if you don't take anything away from today's webinar is that you are also one singular moment from change, right? You can meet somebody in this chat tonight. You can meet somebody in our community who can absolutely change the trajectory of how your job search goes. And all you need is that one job at the end of the day, unless you're one of those people that wants like three jobs, right? And I'm hoping you're not wanting three because you do need time for yourself. And so this is how we approach it here at Albert's List. We've talked about this before, and if you haven't seen this before, this is what we like to call the hiring hierarchy. The hiring hierarchy is a framework that we've developed that helps you understand what it means to look for a job and all the components necessary at some level that employers look for in their next hires. In the first row, we talk about things like hunger, attitude, and really the right approach to personality to to running your job search. And so, for example, you're all here today, right? There's 28 of you who are watching this webinar right now. You all have the hunger and the attitude and really the self-awareness to know that maybe you need something more. At the second level, we have the resume, the cover letter, personal branding, and networking. And these things are important too because you want to be able to get the fundamentals out so that you can be noticed and seen and eventually, hopefully, hired. At the third level, it's not necessarily what a lot of companies are looking for unless you're applying for a role in that area, but having the right vision, the dynamics, the metrics, and the strategy to really be successful in your role. And ultimately, that is bounded by leadership. And so I'm going to talk now about these three secrets to getting unstuck in your job search with these fundamentals in mind and with the idea of staying connected along the way. The first secret to uh, getting unstuck in your job search is what I like to call the Magnificent Seven. The Magnificent Seven is what I like to call really the seven-part aspect of what to do when you need to find a job or when you realize that you need to get a job. And these seven are updating your resume, updating your LinkedIn, identifying the jobs you want to apply for, reaching out to your warm network to let them know you're job hunting, posting an introduction on Albert's List, restarting subscriptions to services like LinkedIn Premium, and immediately identifying networking events to attend in the next few weeks. We believe that this sets you on a course to success when you take early and right massive action. When you get laid off at the first time or when you find yourself out of a job, it's easy to want to go home and cry into your pillow. It's easy to want to be sad. But we realize that taking action immediately is incredibly helpful. And when you take that action, you're going to consistently get results. And so I want you to meet one of our job seekers that we've worked with over the last couple of years. Her name is Cindy, and she found herself isolated during her job search and spinning her wheels. Like many of you, perhaps, she spent a lot of time thinking about the job search rather than executing it, and it cost her many opportunities, including her dream job. She was primarily concerned with perfecting the job search. And I want to highlight a little bit of why taking time is bad. Can you write in the chat what problems you encounter when you take too much time to start your job search? I'll wait for some of your responses. Yep, amplifies anxiety, missing out on opportunities. Yeah, and I'll tell you a little bit of story. I was laid off in August of 2022 from my last role before the one that I was in now. And one of the things that I learned was that job hunting early was incredibly helpful, especially in the timing of rising interest rates and the layoffs that would also come afterwards. One thing that I noticed was that for those who had started job hunting in the summer of 2022, they were able to land their jobs fairly quickly. However, if you said on LinkedIn that you wanted to take a break and wait 6 to 8 months later, you'd have landed in the initial Google layoffs of 2023 and then eventually been competing against Amazon Web Services as well. What else are we saying? Perceived job gap in the time of employment. Yep. Your motivation disappears. You end up not doing anything in the worst case. Burnout and anxiety. Yeah. And so after Cindy understood that taking a lot of time in her own job search was bad, she understood that she needed to introduce speed into her job search. And so she used her network to figure out quickly what it is that she needed to be successful, to meet the right people. And she was able to land a job in the first few weeks of working together. And she enjoyed our process of getting there. So she avoided that level of burnout that I think is so much of a part of this. And so that's secret number one, the Magnificent Seven. The second secret is to define your destinations. And that one, it literally looks like this. Have you ever wanted to learn a new skill? Have you ever wanted to get fit for a wedding or for an important event? Then you know that along the way, it takes dedication, time, and precision for you to get there. After you spend time in the classroom or in the gym, you can definitely see the results, whether it was knowledge or bigger biceps. And job searching is kind of the same thing. We don't often hear of it that way because we apply for jobs in a tailor-made manner. Interview like every single conversation is new, or network like we're socializing for the very first time. However, if you know your destination and you know what you want and are building assets towards getting there, like your resume, your network, and so forth, then those who are speaking to you or helping you can be in a stronger position to do so. And this is bolstered by a story and a narrative that you can tell those who can decide about you. It's like walking into a store, a supermarket, for example. If you walk in and you have no idea what it is that you want to buy, then the assistant cannot help you. However, if you know exactly what you're looking for, then they have a clear idea of the next steps. And while you may not know what the middle steps are, having the end in mind is really helpful. And so I want you to meet Juan. He's another one of our members that we worked with. And when he came to us several years ago, he expressed a lack of direction. We helped him find direction and he landed at a job at Microsoft. And so one of the things that we helped him do was we helped him realize level of abundance and a level of flexibility in what kind of jobs that he was looking for. One of the things that I think I find that helps me in good economies and especially in bads is thinking about what it is that I can do in addition to the work that I do. In the chat, I'd love to know how many of you here are not fully clear about what it is your job search destination and what you want to do is. Type me if that's you. Okay, there are a few of you. This is good. So, one of the things that I would just said, right, is to focus on abundance in your search. And one of the ways that I see that happening, especially in this really tough job market where you have a lot of competition, is to focus on all the types of roles that you can qualify and do. For me, for example, as you know, I'm a product marketing manager, but I can also be somebody who can do content marketing, customer success, community management. It's a little bit of a stretch to go into HR and recruiting and then working for myself. But those are all opportunities that I have designed for myself to think like, okay, if I need to go ahead and update my resume and I need to think about what exactly it is that I want to do or can do, then it brings me a lot more of that opportunity. And I want you all to take a little bit of a stab at that too, right? If you have a WordPad open or a notebook next to you, write down maybe 3 to 5 jobs that you think you can do right now, right? And type in the chat what it is that you feel after you've typed out all those various different roles out. I'm going to go ahead and type out mine here in the chat just to give you an idea of what I'm working with. right? So product marketing, content marketing, community management, social media marketing, customer success, HR, we'll just say sales and recruiting, right? And I went ahead and typed out 8 different job titles there. And the purpose of typing that out, whether you feel it now or feel it later, is to give you that sense of abundance and give you that sense of clarity, right? And if you feel that, let me know in the chat because in a market where it feels like it can be so stifling, hoping and knowing that you have more options can make all the difference. And so that's what I want you all to know. So that's going to lead me into my third secret, which is connecting past, present, and future. And so the question that matters here really comes down to job interviewing. And most folks aren't very good at job interviewing because they're there for themselves in hopes that somebody may or may not notice. In reality, companies interview candidates because they're hoping that past success is an indicator of more future success. And while your stockbroker can never promise you this, your future employer is banking on the possibility that you are going to be forever and future successful. So, how do you interview well? You connect, in my opinion, past, present, and future by understanding the questions you'll be asked from the job description as it aligns to your resume and their needs. And so, one way that you can do this is you can upload your resume or your LinkedIn profile and the job description to ChatGPT. Ask ChatGPT to act as if it was a career consultant or the hiring manager and to give you a 4-column table with interview answers, the type of question that you're being asked, and why it's good in your resume. And so these are the types of ways that you can get ahead of it by understanding your story and creating a question bank that matters for the interviews that you have. And I'm going to go ahead and see if I can copy and paste this over. Um, yeah, let's see here. Yeah, that's not going to paste over. But if you want the prompt, message me later and I'm happy to give it to you. Okay, cool. And so with that thought in mind, I also want to introduce you to Nikki. When Nikki came to us, her past, present, and future were not connected. We helped her connect those in her job interviews, resulting in multiple 6-figure offers. Then Nikki returned when she was looking for her next job, aiming to further level up her skills. We're teaching her and we have taught her how to job hunt with AI. And so, with that in mind, I want to talk a little bit about what the opportunity is that we wanted to bring up next. We mentioned at the very, very beginning of the webinar that there's more, and here's the part that is more. As many of you may or may not know, what we used to have is an 8-week course focused on helping you land your next job. And knowing that we want you to land your next job quicker, what we did is we created a 6-week version called Hired, the 6-week roadmap to your next job in 2026. And so what this program is, it's a group coaching program where we want to help you land your next job using the very frameworks that we mentioned in the hiring hierarchy, plus what we mentioned in our 3 secrets to getting unstuck in your job search. And so I want to talk a little bit about what we have in this program with regards to every single week so that you have an understanding of what we do. In week 1, we talk about the modern hiring process and the importance of finding riches in the niches and expecting the unexpected. What we've understood in the job market like this, and really every single downturn, is that sometimes opportunities come from places that you least expect. And so your instructor for this first week is actually me. I'm the founder of Albert's List. You're going to see me for all 6 weeks, as well as the bonus 7th week within this program. And I'm gonna help you and be there every step of the way as you land your next job. Week 2, we cover resumes and cover letters. We want you to help you write a resume that gets noticed, tell a story that speaks to your strengths, and create a cover letter that highlights the work that you do. And teaching this particular session is Jonayat Iqbal. Jonayat is a LinkedIn resume and personal branding expert and a career coach to everybody from C-suite executives to high school kids, techies, and even clowns. And so he's seen a lot of resumes along the way, and he's here to help you too. Week 3, we're going to talk about LinkedIn and networking because it is more important than ever to be really great at networking and using the platforms like LinkedIn to help you get ahead. In using LinkedIn, we're going to help you write the messages that work, network in circles of influence, and meet the people who want to meet you. Our instructor for this is my partner in crime for this bootcamp, Elisa, and she's a LinkedIn networking and sales expert who works at a Fortune 500 company in sales and uses LinkedIn every single day. She's going to tell you how to use LinkedIn to your best and how to build a personal brand that gets noticed. Week 4, we're going to talk about turbocharging your job search resources. We're going to talk a little bit about building your job search roadmap and what to use, ways to reduce isolation and additional resources that you can consider in addition to what we have, and then how to think about the current job market in where we've been. Teaching us this is Lucy. Lucy's a talent acquisition consultant and career coach who's worked at Betts Recruiting, LHH, and Illumio, as well as Bill.com. She has insights into the tech and career market and really is one of the most empathetic and compassionate people that I know in the job search process. Week 5, we're going to talk about insightful interviewing and being the interviewee that your interviewer is looking for. It's an incredibly competitive market right now, so getting a job interview is like striking gold. And we're going to show you how to build the story that you want to share, role play along the way, and build that question and answer bank so that you can be successful in the interview process. We're always excited to bring back Corey for this. Corey is a technical recruiter at the world's largest search engine. And so if you don't know what that is, I encourage you to Google it. And he's a career coach and an Alberts List principal mock interviewer who's done at least 120 mock interviews since we started during the pandemic. Then we move into week 6, which is cutting through the noise. We're going to teach you how to navigate your negotiation and be offered an extra $500 to $10,000. Understand the state of the business that you're trying to work at, and then create a vision and move beyond being just working there, but somebody who can truly own. And we also have a 7th week along the way too, which Joe teaches in both week 6 and week 7 as a career coach to help you go through the noise. We're also going to give you some bonuses during this boot camp as well. Our first free bonus is office hour sessions that run really beyond our boot camp. And it helps you where what we do is we help you answer questions, run through scenarios, or just vent. And a lot of our job seekers do just that because they need a place to be in community with others. Our second free bonus is a mock interview with one of our instructors. This can be me, this can be Corey, and this can be one-on-one to really help you hone your answers and get those right as you go through the interview process. And so the total value, as we've cycled through with everything in our course, is $3,800. But you're definitely not going to be paying anywhere close to that today. We realize that in going through a lot of these programs that some can charge anywhere from 10% of your first year's salary, and some may be even charging more. And there are other programs like local job search groups that meet monthly, which are great, and I speak at a lot of them, but they also slow your momentum down along the way. And so I could also charge thousands for this, but I didn't really want to start this program to maximize profit. I created it to help people like you because I've been in your shoes before. And trust me, 2011, 2012, or 2013, Albert would have loved to have Albert's List because he was pretty clueless along the way too. And so the boot camp, it's regularly 397. It's been a little bit more in the past. And what we're offering it for today, we're giving you the early bird price, which is for the time being $369 for the first 10 signups tonight. And this deal is going to end Friday. We're limiting this program to 30 participants because we want to make sure that there's enough attention for everyone. And we wanted to make sure that People who are in it can get the attention they need, especially in this crazy job market. And so, what do we do in this particular program? We meet weekly on Mondays for 90 minutes, starting at 5 o'clock Pacific time. We also do office hours, which tend to be Wednesdays from 3 to 4 p.m. We create a LinkedIn group chat that you can be in that lives forever, so you can chat with your cohort long after we're complete. And you have one-on-one access to me and other coaches and the resources you keep and as they evolve. So, because I'm in this group with you and I'm here job searching with you, it's something that I want to offer you as something that goes on and on. And I also want to give you a money back guarantee that if you complete the course with me today, then use the skills for up to a year and are still unsatisfied, I want you to contact me and I'm going to give you your money back. And so this is the link to enroll. It is on our Eventbrite page. And I want to give you that opportunity to ask me any questions and anything that goes beyond what we've been talking about here, right? We've been talking about the three secrets. We've been talking about a few of the job search tips beyond that. But I want to know how all of you are feeling, especially as we get into as we get to the end here. Um, Let me know. I'm open for questions. And I also want to mention too that if you are feeling like you also need a payment plan to join this boot camp as well, I'm also willing to help you out there too. All right, Matthew asks, tips on how to get more detailed feedback from automated rejection emails. So this is a tough one. The automated rejection emails are pretty impossible to get around. And the reason why companies send out these rejection emails is because they they are trying to reduce any legal liability from telling you what they actually think. And so the way to get around rejections is to know why you were rejected at all in the first place. I have noticed that in every single job interview that I tend to have, there always seems to be the one or two questions, especially in a tight job market, that I did not answer correctly. And because I did not answer those questions correctly, it cost me that interview. So if you can pinpoint back to where you answered a question in a not so satisfactory way or realized that you could answer it better, that is usually your answer for why you didn't pass the interview. And this is particularly true for when you are in the hiring manager phase. If you are in the recruiter phase, usually it's just because you weren't a very good fit to begin with, but you had made it through their system. Anusha says, tips on the initial resume adjusting. How do we get past that 10-second attention span? At first glance, how unique can we make our work, especially if you don't have many metrics? Yeah, so uh, I would say that it's all about what happens in the top left-hand corner of your resume. In the top left-hand corner of your resume is where you put in your job title, some major numbers of quantifications of what you've been able to do. If you don't have metrics, then I would say focus on perhaps the brand of the company, focus on perhaps highlighting any of your AI skills. I think one of the hardest parts right now in general is that new graduates have a very, very high unemployment rate. And that's really, really rough because a lot of companies have turned to AI. So if you can use your connections to get through, if you can build something that gets noticed, then that's going to be a lot more helpful. Rahman asks, will this boot camp help someone looking for a software engineering job? So it depends, Rahman. It depends on whether you are struggling in the soft skill section or whether you are struggling in the technical aspect of the interview. We do not do leak code or anything like that here in this particular boot camp, although in the past we have held a software engineering boot camp. But if you are looking for the personality-based questions, and the overall job search strategy, we can absolutely help you with that. All right, anybody else? Anybody else? Does anybody have any questions about the boot camp in question? Transitioning roles, absolutely. Yeah. So we help with role transition. We help you identify the transitioning skills and experiences that you can mention on your resume. We talk about positioning yourself, and we talk about the interview process. Okay. So yeah, recruiters keep pulling you back into engineering roles that you're trying to get away from. Yeah, so it's all about how you position yourself in that realm. Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Any other questions? Let me go ahead and go here too. Let me know if the enrollment link works here too. All right. Anything else? Any other questions? Here we go. I've gotten through to the final round, but have been rejected due to what I assume is stack ranking. The only feedback I get is I performed exceptionally well, but somebody else fits their current needs better. Yeah, so this is a tough one because you are definitely technically adept, but it may be an issue of just who they might have liked better at that time. And in this case, it's not necessarily you, it's the competitive competition of the market. And so I would say identifying where you might be falling short in your personality interviews is going to matter a lot, especially if you're doing your technical interviews really well. And the other case is you might just also have a situation where you're doing your technical interview well enough, but somebody else is just doing them way better in being able to be more elegant in their solution. And in that case, it would just be a matter of figuring out how you can be more elegant in that sense. Lindsay says, really excited for the destination aspect. As a data analyst, the world is so big for me these days. I could feel I almost do anything. Yeah, so, in this situation, it's still all about positioning yourself. Um, Focus on what you are strongest at and what you're best at in this market. I know that I mentioned the A through L list earlier, but the thing is, you should really see what you can do with A and B, even though you want to have as many options as you possibly can. And the reason for that is that there's a lot of people who are getting laid off, right? Next week, you're going to see a lot of HR, marketing, workforce experience people get let go, in addition to engineers. And so you got to focus on what you're really great at because you're going to be competing with some of these folks for upcoming jobs. And so, yes, you can do anything, but you also should focus on what you do best. Matthew, just a PSA as well. Yeah, third-party job application aggregation sites have AI generated roles. Yeah, I would watch out for those too. What happens if you have to miss a weekly session? So yes, we record every single weekly session. We also record office hours. And if you want to reach out and talk to me separately, you can also do that too. So, and we link everything within the chat. We follow up with our emails, and those are all in there as well. So yeah, we definitely support you all the way there. All right. Any other question? I want to make sure you are absolutely comfortable in being able to sign up for this. All right. I'm going to give one more minute. Here's what I'm also going to do. Turn on my video. Hello there, everybody. And I'm going to give you the link. Yeah, absolutely, Matthew. Here's the link to the boot camp. What does the boot camp offer that makes it other unique from other boot camps in regards to the actual guidance? Yeah, so I would say that we look at the whole entire job search journey as a process, as I showed you in the hiring hierarchy. I also think that we give you a larger variety of different professionals, and we time box it into 7 weeks or less, depending on when you get that next role. I'm not interested in coaching you for 6 months because I want you to get your job a lot sooner. Um, yeah, right. And so we're not just education, but we're also accountability and helping you get to the very end. Good question, Anusha. Anybody else? Why do companies run interviews even though they'll hire internally or promote? Yeah, so they do that because laws require them to do so, and they also want to see what's potentially out there, um, and they want to be able to compare. But mostly it's because they need to be in accordance and compliance to laws. Do we provide tips on networking? Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. We talk about networking, how to network, how to use AI to write reach outreach messages, um, and go from there. Yeah, absolutely. Have you recently worked with international students? So from a visa standpoint, it's a little bit, I think, harder to overcome, but for me there, it's still applying the process and just doing it at a greater volume because you have to break down more doors with your strategy. So, I don't know in particular how many international students we've worked with, but we can definitely chat about it, and I'm happy to give you a little bit more coaching, Huang. How can you find in-person networking opportunities? You're a junior UX designer. So I would go to groups where designers meet up, um, user groups for software that you use. I would go to groups where creatives spend time together, and then, sort of the quasi-technical, non-technical. Yeah. Diana, oh, just to say, Albert's free events are so informative, helpful from the live ones and online. As the alum of the Side Hustle Bootcamp, thumbs up to your work. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Diana. It's good to have you here and singing my praises, and I absolutely did not pay you to say that. Yeah, so here's the Eventbrite link. Thank you, Chris. And so the Eventbrite link will show you what it is that we teach every single week. We're going to talk about networking in the LinkedIn portion of the boot camp. And we're also going to, yeah, we're going to talk about strategy throughout. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Cool. All right. Any other questions? Any other thoughts? I'm here to answer any questions all week. You should have my email. Um, Here's my LinkedIn again, and let's chat. Yes. And you can do that too, Chris. Yeah, the boot camp starts February 2nd. Yeah. Yep. All right. Cool. Are there any other thoughts? Are there any questions? I'm glad you thought it was informative, Joanna. Thank you so much for being here again. Okay. We're going to have this recorded. We have many other webinars that are coming up here in the next couple of months, couple of weeks. Feel free to sign up for those. And we also look forward to seeing you in the boot camp as well. Have a wonderful rest of your night. and we will go ahead and talk to you soon. Goodbye, everybody.